everybody and welcome to Music and Art for All. My name is Daniel Castro and today we're going to speak about how long does it take to learn a musical instrument. So, how long does it take to learn an instrument? Question many people ask themselves, and again, the answer is very relative. It depends what the instrument. For example, this is a very funny thing that I discovered when I went to study in Italy. There are certain instruments that for you to finish the whole process of studies, you have to study for 8 years. There are some other instruments in which, like piano, violin, and some others that you have to study for 10 years, and even some other instruments in which you get exactly the same diploma, certificate, whatever you want to call it, the same degree actually, studying 6 years. Okay, so it is definitely relative to the instrument. And again, to be honest, there is not a real straightforward response to this question. Okay, it will definitely depend a lot on how much time you dedicate to it. It is always in certain ways relative to the amount of hours that you dedicate. It is also relative to the, well, you could even say to the ability that you have for that particular instrument. It depends on many things, okay? If you are at the, let's say, beginner's level, one of the most important things is to know that from the very beginning you have to be constant with it. You have to start practicing in a regular manner as soon as you can. Okay, how long does it take? Of course, do the maths yourself. If you practice 12 hours a day of piano for 3 years, or you practice 1 hour a day for 1 month, okay, of course there will be a difference from that point of view. So again, like I said, I spoke in another of my videos about the age and about how you have to have clear in mind exactly where do you want to arrive with your music studies, right? If you of course want to be again a concert pianist, play concerts, play in venues, etc., you will may have to dedicate a long time practicing. Again, there is no an answer on how long does it take for you to achieve that level. There are certain people that after 3 years are already playing into a very high level. There are people who takes them 10 years maybe to achieve the same level, but develop different and positive characteristics. And yeah, I would say anyways is relative. But why not? Let's actually try to do a kind of estimation on how long would it take. Or even better, let's actually think, for example, I would like to divide this for you. If you are trying to learn, you are a beginner and you are trying to learn just as, your passion, your hobby, it may be, and you want to just learn to play for yourself, maybe for family, maybe for some presentation in your school or where you work, or I don't know. I believe that at the beginning you could start, why not, with 2 hours, maybe. Well, if it was possible, 2 hours a day, it would be a good amount. Okay, of course, still 1 hour a day will do a good thing, but I recommend definitely 2 hours. Maybe 1 hour in which you are practicing your technique, and 1 hour in which you are learning music at the beginning. I think it would be a good amount. Let's say that instead you are an intermediate student, you have already studied for some years, you are not playing the hardest pieces yet, but you are getting there, you feel that you could definitely start approaching some of the hardest pieces that your instrument has. There, I could advise maybe 4 hours a day of practicing. Of course, it could take you a whole summer, it could take you a whole year. Again, it's very important for you to be realistic on your goals and where exactly you want to arrive with the repertoire of the piece that you are learning. But I believe that 4 hours could be okay. Now, this is very so relative that, for example, there is one of my good friends. He's a famous pianist. His name is Andrei Gavrilov. I was speaking with him. He told me 3 hours should be enough for you to keep in shape. Okay, Sviatoslav Richter, which was one very famous pianist of the 20th century, was saying that actually no, 3 hours is the perfect amount for any pianist to practice. Okay, the reality is that both of them were playing. Okay, Andrei Gavrilov is still alive, like I told you, is my friend. He's playing a lot of hours a day in order to, of course, achieve good results, even if he has, already down all of the technique, a lot of, of the musical knowledge that a musician should have. He has all of that, and still he's practicing a lot.
Он всем пианистам говорит, 3 часа играйте, не больше. Они ему часто говорят, а вы, Святослав Трофимович, я тоже 3 часа.
Четвертый этюд на бис тоже ничего. Намечаю себе, 3 часа я играю.
Когда он был молодой, он играл действительно 10 и 12 часов в день.
Что за глупость? Никогда 12 не было. Иногда было.
And Richter, the funny story is that he declares that you should practice, 3 hours a day more or less, and he was practicing sometimes 12 hours a day. So again, it's relative, but me, in my personal experience with my students and even with myself, I believe that 4 hours, those 4-5 times a week, if every day is of course better, would allow you to arrive to the next level if you are an intermediate student. Of course, as always, the most important thing is to keep your mind clear, to study constantly, but also well. This is, of course, one of the most important things. You can stay 10 hours. The typical thing that you will hear from any experienced teacher or musician is that you can stay 10 hours in front of the instrument. You can take your violin and stay 10 hours trying to play something. If you are doing it wrong, you can, not achieve anything. While maybe in an hour of good practicing, you achieve a lot. Of course, my examples in this case for this video are more related with good practicing. Okay, if you dedicate 3 to 4 hours a day practicing well, I can guarantee you that in a shorter amount of time you will definitely be able to jump maybe, or to simply arrive to the next level. And now this is maybe not part of what I should be answering. This part I'm referring to people that are already in some ways professionals, or have a good experience with music already. Of course, if you just want to achieve a very good level in a maybe very hard piece, I don't know, the typical example that comes to mind is the third Rachmaninoff concerto, or even the second Prokofiev concerto. Of course, it will depend on what you know of yourself, on your abilities, and of course, in that moment, the amount of hours is also important. Now, I will make another video speaking about this, just because it's fundamental for you to know it. There are people that sustain that after 5 hours they start to feel pains, or after 5 hours, I don't know, they got tendonitis, or after 3 hours they got tendonitis. Depends, of course, on what you are practicing. I do believe, and this is very important for me to say to you, I do believe that you can actually practice. I have practiced myself 16 hours without stopping a couple of times in my life, and nothing happened to me. Of course, the most important thing for you to know how many hours in relation of what is healthy or what is not depends on your experience, even on your physicality, even on anyway whatever aspect that has to be with you, that has to do with you personally. Okay, since I was very young, I was studying a lot of hours, And it was okay for me. I never felt tired. I never got tendonitis. I never got anything. There are people that, like I'm telling you, 3 hours or four, and they are already exhausted, right? A good way of avoiding this is, for example, dividing the study. You can practice, let's say, 4 hours in the morning and 4 hours in the afternoon, or whatever, 2 hours, take a break, another 2 hours, take a break, another 2 hours, and so on, right? Again, there is not a specific time in which you will become a musician or you will learn to play an instrument. It depends a lot on your capacities, on how much good practice you dedicate. So again, there is no a real answer to how long does it take to learn an instrument. Depends on your abilities, depends on how much time you dedicate and how much good practice you do. So again, don't be discouraged. I still guarantee you that if you want to get better, dedicating a little bit of time, of course, you will take longer, but you will get there. Dedicating more time, of course, you will get it faster. Dedicating a long time to your practice, you will definitely get there faster. Okay, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give us a like. It's very important for us. And see you next time. Thank you.